All right, hello everybody. I am a psychologist in my day job, and I was teaching the other day on on how to get over narcissistic patterns, how to break the habit of being yourself. I've been reading a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza again, this book, and this book as well, Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and this book, A Sunlit Absence. It's so funny how my teaching is a mixture, and Marcus Aurelius, the Meditations, and his is a lot like the Tao Te Ching, and I have a Kierkegaard book here and a book with Aslan as well, right? And so C.S. Lewis. So what I am is I'm a psychologist that has spent many years, I've been 20 plus years studying this stuff, and I want to teach you. I don't need to talk more about my qualifications. You can watch those on another video. I have a few minutes here to teach you because I did this whole hour-long teaching. Part of it is on my website, and I called it Always Something There to Remind Me, because after I had made the video, I always usually I'll hear a song and I'll teach all my psychology and philosophy and all of that so that you can anchor in what you've learned with the song. But this time I got the song afterwards. I didn't know why I was doing the teaching without a song. But as I was editing it for us, I was like, this is the song, Always Something There to Remind Me. And so today I'm gonna play the song for us so we have it. And so you don't have to have that teaching. You can just be here on your own. But if you want more, go to the Always Something There to Remind Me on YouTube or on Instagram, or I put it on my website. It's yoursoulsongs.com. Because all of these books, right, are about the path of your soul. Because you are a soul, you're in a body. Taylor Chardin says you're not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience, right? And so I love that song, La Vie en Rose. It's like, give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be La Vie en Rose. And so you're gonna have this rosy life. If you understand for a second, even if you haven't heard of the Tao Te Ching, right? It's like the yin and the yang. And if you want to understand it from the Bible, it's Mary and Martha represent taking action and then contemplation. Mary sat at the feet of Jesus. She recognized in that moment that's where she ought to be. And Jesus said, Mary has chosen this one thing, the better thing in this moment, and it will not be taken from her. Because we all go from extreme to extreme to extreme, and the Tao Te Ching is this way, this middle way, right? This way in the middle. I was hearing that reiterated by Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul. Oh, and I have Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now over there, right? I'm always reading that book over and over again. So what this is about for your life is when we keep going back to narcissistic people or narcissistic patterns, understand our world, the world system, the world consciousness is operating very much like a narcissist, and it keeps trying to feed off of you and consume and objectify you and teach you that you need to keep feeding off of it and consuming, and you're desperate for it. You need this face cream and this and this and this, you know what I mean? This much more money and this much more busyness and all this stuff, right? And so you learn to objectify. And so what I came up with in this teaching, this was just inspired because I'm always, look at my journal here, right? This is my journal. This is one day, is I'm always trying to find ways to remind myself how to stay in this middle place, how to stay in this balanced place, how to stay in contemplation and then take inspired action, right? And so an acronym that came to me, and even if you've watched the other two videos and you come back to this, all of these three things do. Marcus Aurelius was talking about, he learned this way to keep repeating things over and over and over again. It's a form of memorization, because you can't just memorize these concepts in your head. You want to have them in you, to live them. And so I found, right, is that if we listen to a song and we attach the teaching to the song, then we can just listen to the song, and the song will remind us how to get to that state of being, okay? And so let me teach you a little bit about this song. Now, it's not the song. The song comes from the upper realms. I have that a few videos ago. I have that in a bunch of videos on Pavel Florensky. If you look at Pavel Florensky and where art comes from, this quote is there, but he talks about, like Plato, like the real ideas are up in the heavenly realms, and artists go and get a taste of them and then put them out in their music. And so is philosophy and psychology and anything music. Muse is like a muse, you know? Like mythology, like you're entering behind your defenses, you're entering beyond the place of your mind, like your intuition when you have a knowing about something. That's how the Tao is. As soon as you start describing it, it's elusive again, you know? As soon as you start describing, you know, what is the verse? It says, it's in the Psalms, be still and know, experience, then you'll experience that I am God. Well, how do you be still? How do you let go of your name and your title and your skin color and the religion you identify yourself with and all of that stuff and just be a soul? And in that beingness, without your problems, without you defining yourself by, you just know yourself as soul. And then you know how God is, because it's like you're merging, like one with the clouds or one with the ocean. You're merging into God, right? And so, okay, so this is how I heard this song. Now, the acronym I came up with on those videos you can watch, there's this old way, like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I took an advanced 1-week course with him. It was intense. We did like a 5-hour meditation one day. It might have been 6 hours. It was like 4 in the morning until 9, whatever the math is on that. I think it was 9 or 10. Anyway, he was like, I've never gone this long. I'm like, okay, of course. And so anyway, he's talking about you get a high, even if you're going back to vomit, even if you're going back to a shaming feeling that you had in childhood or not good enough or all these things, you get a neurological, it's just like your brain releases the chemical of like, oh, I know how familiar this place is, even if it's vomit. So in that video, I called it vomit nostalgia vomit, you know, where it's like you get the high from going back to this nostalgic place, but it's not where you're meant to go, right? And so I wrote out the acronym ABUSE, where you feel abandoned or bad or like you did something wrong, or you feel used or you're in lack. That's the U. S is shame and guilt. E is extinguished, like everyone's like saying you have to dim your light, don't shine so bright. D is depressed and angry and resentful and all those feelings, right? I just came up with the acronym to remind us, okay, when we start feeling that way, go this other way, go this other way, walk this other way towards peace is the other acronym I came up with, which is all divine, okay? This peace is the peace that Jesus talked about, the peace that passes your all understanding, that I give you a peace that's not of this world. It's not of your conceptual mind of just coming up with this idea of peace. It's real experiential peace, right? Divine presence, divine enthusiastic joy. So I put the E for peace, is enthusiastic joy. Divine abundance and awareness. You're in this deep awareness, present, alert awareness. That's A, of peace. And C is you're cherished and cared for and protected. You know, it's like you're cared for and you're known. That's part of being cherished. Cherish is this deep, like agape love. It's like the Greek word for this divine love. And then E is you get in this expansive flow state. You get in like the Tao. You're in the way. The word Tao just means the way. And the Christianity at first was called the way because they were just teaching. It's like Christ lived the way and he was teaching how to walk in the way. And he lived that way. And he died and rose again that way. But you don't have to believe that. I want all people to have healing. So I'm not trying to convert people. I just want you to know truth. And I'm not going to leave out people that lived the truth and taught the truth, right? All right, so I'll go to the song. And, you know, I could teach for a whole hour because I often do. The other teaching is an hour. But I want to leave time for this, for me to sing this song. And so it's called Always Something There to Remind Me. And it's by Hal David and someone Burt Baccarat. That's his name, right? And he's a famous guy. They both are. And so it's called Always Something There to Remind Me. And so I looked at it as Like your soul is like this feminine, and you have this divine calling. And so even when the bad comes up, and the the bad habits, the abuse, oh, I feel abandoned again, or I feel like I did something bad, or those can remind you to walk towards peace again, that you're too far over on this side to go back over to this side, to walk back in the peace, walk back in the love, find that again, right? And know that. Okay. And so this is depicted as a girl, right? But let it remind you to walk back to the peace, right? Walk along the city streets you used to walk along with me. And every step I take reminds me of just how we used to be. How can I forget you, girl? There is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. Shadows fall, I pass a small cafe where we would dance at night. And I can't help recalling how it felt to kiss and hold you tight. How can I forget you, girl? There is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. I was born to love her, and I will never be free. You'll always be a part of me. You should find you miss the sweet and tender love we used to share. Just go back to the places where we used to go, and I'll be there. How can I forget you, girl? There is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. I was born to love her, and I will never be free. You'll always be a part of me. Come here, Leia. Come here, girl. My dog hears my son that just got home, so she's whining at the door. It's not from the singing, right? And so understand that every time we fall on our face and go back to that toxic thing, that toxic addiction, that toxic relationship, whatever it is, your soul, we all were made out of God, in Him, and God is beyond he and she, but in Him we live and move and have our being. And so there's always something to remind you of your soul. Your soul's calling you to walk that higher path, to be disciplined, to deny your flesh, if you want to call it that, to deny the immediate and get in the intenseness, the tenseness. We don't know how to say no to these things because our parents didn't always say no to those things. They took the shortcut, and so they taught you by their actions that you're only worth the shortcut, but you're worth way more than that, right? And so let this be your soul reminding you how you used to dance when we were in heaven, when we came from heaven and we came down here, right? I get so teary about it. It's like how we used to dance and how we used to be. That little cafe in heaven that you remember your soul being. I've had so many meditations and experienced that. So I know it, and I want it for you guys. I want you to know this in your life now. I want you to know love, right? So go to the other teaching, and it will go for a whole hour teaching you more about this. And then this song can be an anchor. We can always go back to this and watch all three of these over and over and over again, and you'll get it. All right? So much love.